going up there, and Emily Leverett was going to be up there, and he was bitching about the 2 tenured professors not being able to spell fiance consistently, and I'm like, but it's spelled differently. I'm like, it's spelled differently if it's a male or female. And
to which I responded, "Are you fucking kidding?"
Yeah, like I jumped.
Yeah, I think gendered nouns suck as a general rule, but you know, I agree with
then,
that. But we're stuck with it.
And then she explained it to me, and I was like, they should fucking know better than to use fiance that much. Then Jesus Christ.
Yeah, really. Why create all the confusion? Yes, I understand completely.
You use a motherfucker's name.
Yep. No, I understand completely. You know, and then
I still don't know that. I still don't have that one memorized. Like, I don't know when there's a goddamn apostrophe. I can't, or accent.
There's always an accent. But there's 2 E's if it's female and 1 E if it's male.
See,
right, and the accent's on the first E.
Right.
I was right. I still don't know that.
What I love
Blonde I've got down now.
Is
Thank
that
God.
we accept the gendered version. It's italicized. I mean, it has an accent mark. But we don't italicize it. We don't treat it like foreign language anymore. So why don't we just make it Americanized? But we don't. We haven't.
No.
You know. And we live by CMOS. And I tell authors all the time when I send them the copy edit, I'm happy to discuss any of this with you. Please bring your CMOS, you know,
to the gunfight.
Paragraphing to the gunfight, because I will be locked and loaded on CMOS when you
There
come
are
back.
CMOS references in our style guide.
Oh yes.
There's
absolutely.
also though a hierarchy at the top of our style guide.
This is true.
Which is
what trumps what?
Yeah, it's what trumps what, and we start with grammar.
Yeah.
Then it's CMOS. Then it's voice. Then it's me.
Yeah. I understand that.
Yeah, because HMFIC trumps all that shit.
Yeah, I totally understand.
Yeah.
I totally understand.
You should tell her about what it says about the Oxford comma.
I fucking hate it, but I'll do it anyway.
And we'll never speak of this again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you have to do the Oxford comma.
I know, and I still hate the Oxford comma.
It's imperative in language.
I was trained in AP style.
Don't care.
No.
I know.
There's a legal case proving the validity of the
Yes,
Oxford
there is.
comma.
I can prove to the Bible that it's okay to cut a baby in half.
Oh, by the way, we're rolling.
I figured.
Hi.
I assumed.
We feel really strongly about the Oxford comma.
Yeah,
It's
and
critically
French
important.
nouns.
Oh, I feel very strongly about French nouns.
Yes. Yes.
Sweet
Please
baby
read the
Jesus.
book Eats, Shoots, and Leaves, and you will understand more.
Yes.
You may not understand why I'm so pissed off about French nouns, but whatever.
Buy the Chicago Manual of Style and sleep with it.
Yep, Strunk and White, Chicago Manual Style. You can get a subscription online,
Yeah, you
which we
can.
have, because it's just so much easier for me to look that crap up. You know,
Yeah,
So-
she has a subscription. I have a Melissa.
I don't have a Melissa. I would like
and
a
you can't
Melissa.
have this one.
I do not have a Melissa in my office. I've got great folks, just not a CMOS off the top of my head Melissa. You know, the copy editors know that stuff, and that's great, but sometimes you have to check the copy editors. Sometimes you have to decide what's going to trump.
Sometimes you have to have 27 entries in the style guide about different iterations of profanity and body part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
And we've got what? Hellmouth, Hellgate.
Yeah.
There's like a whole bunch. There's a whole list of those.
Those are the Gaelisms. The
Yeah.
Hellmouth, whether Hellmouth is one word or two,
Yes.
and when hell is capitalized and not, and when gate is capitalized and not.
Yes. And I can't tell you how many times I have had to look things up, odd, strange, weird things, that people come in, into my office, and I say, just a minute, I'm looking up something that's absolutely ridiculous, because you want to get it right, it's important, and you know the answer, but you want to be able to quote something to back you up.
But my very favorite fight, my very favorite argument that we had when I first sold you these
Which
books.
one?
Oh no, this is the one I love because this is the one I won.
Darn.
That's why you love it.
Well, it's literally the only one. Internet.
We talked about that on the panel earlier today.
So when I sold the Black Knight Chronicles to Bellbridge Books, after self-publishing them, the grammatically correct standard at the time was to capitalize the I in internet. I had not done this when I self-published the books because that's not how people who wrote on the internet, like I did it. And Deb said, this isn't correct. The style guide says this is how it's done. And I said, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right this year. But we have 6 books under contract, and by the time book 6 releases, I swear to God it'll be lowercase.
Mm-hmm. But that's an intelligent argument. I
also missed it by 1 book, but it was lowercased in the Chicago Manual of Style before book 7.
Yep. No, you were just an early adopter of the lowercase I.
Yes.
And I believed you when you told me. I said, okay, you're probably right.
You were like, that makes sense, fine.
Yeah.
And I had already said whatever to literally every other grammatical thing because I was like,
you really were very accepting of, and I feel sure that you looked at everything because we discussed things like hyphenates and
and which flavors of profanity get hyphenates and which don't.
Exactly. I mean, we had deep, meaningful discussions
for that too.
Yeah, over this. Well, you want to be consistent.
Yeah.
You want the reader to read it and accept it and not go, well, that's weird. And if you're working with an editor who's not much of a cusser, I'll just say that right up front. I can occasionally, drop an F-bomb, hell, damn, and shit. This is going to the world and I'm being terrible. Hello, I'm a nice person.
It's his YouTube channel.
I have long since given up on any hope of ever monetizing this YouTube channel.
Okay, good. It's like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when you're dealing with characters who speak in ways that are not your normal speech patterns, you have to pay attention, get it right.
Absolutely.
And so you want the readers to accept that. So that's, the reason we went through all of that and we had these conversations. And I don't think we've had the conversation since because we know what we're doing. We have to smack a copy editor every so often.
Well, because they're frequently new, because copy editors turn over more often than publishers and authors.
Yeah, and you can't always get the same one, even though you want to book them. If a book is, say, late, for instance.
Imagine that.
That never happens.
That never happens. But if a book is late and you've had to sub in another book because you've contracted the copy editor,
get out of the rhythm.
You got to give them something, and they're busy when the other book comes in.
Yeah.
What, Teresa?
You've been talking for about 7 minutes, and we don't know who this lovely lady is.
Well, it's going to be in the show notes.
Okay.
So, hi. Welcome back to Book Babble. And there's a lot of babble.
We had donuts.
We had donuts.
Okay.
I'm your host, John Hartness. I'm the founder and publisher of Falstaff Books. Joining me, as always, is my co-host and associate publisher, Melissa McArthur. Joining us, as always, for this evening is Melissa's emotional support pillow, Leopold.
Oh, this is mine. Does it have a name?
Would you like it to have a name?
Yes.
It's Lumpy.
Lumpy? Okay.
No, it's not Lumbee. Lumbee was a tribe of Indians in North Carolina. We can't do that. That's like cultural appropriation.
I know that. Okay.
How about Boo Boo? We'll just go with Boo Boo.
Well, joining us tonight is Deb Dixon, the co-founder and publisher of Bell Books and Bell Bridge Books, and her emotional support pillow, Boo Boo. Hi.
Hi, we're happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. I'm so glad to have you here at Saga and here in the Falstaff Suite, which is really swank.
It's lovely. I'm very impressed.
It's got curtains, but they're not as awesome as the Atomic.
These are not
curtain
dress curtains. So.
No, but
they're not curtains. You don't.
I've already lodged the request with Cotton Carolinas to get a suite for Cotton Carolinas so that I can tape more of these.
This would be a really good thing, and I think it's perfectly reasonable if you're running a con to have a suite.
I agree, and I told them that, look, I'll pay for it. You don't have to comp me a suite, even though I am a sponsor of your...
Right. Just saying, yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Exactly.
There's no promises that this will even air before Con Carolinas.
Yeah. Well, the chairs are comfy, it's awesome, it's roomy.
Yeah.
And we have support pillows.
And you have emotional support pillows.
Yes.
This is true.
So, Deb, what we do here on Book Babble is not just ramble on about style guides,
although that would be great. We have one of those too.
You want another donut?
No.
Okay, good, because I'm kind of afraid to give you more sugar at this point.
You're on a little bit of a sugar high, but that's okay. I understand
she's
your
on a style guide
commitment.
high.
Yeah, it's grammar.
Oh, yeah. It's important.
It is.
It's important.
It is.
It's great.
Wayne has a shirt, that's my husband, has a shirt that says, education is important, but playing guitars is importanter.
Yes. I knew I liked your husband.
I know.
From the moment I met y'all.
I know. I absolutely understand.
What we do here on Book Babble, in addition to this bullshit, is I bring on guests and we talk a little bit about what's going on in their lives and what they've got coming out in the near future, and then they tell us a little bit about a book that they love, that they've loved for a long time, and a book that they love that's recent.
Okay.
So tell the nice people what's going on with Bellbridge.
In the lowercase internet.
In the lowercase internet.
I couldn't help it, I'm sorry.
Well, it's pretty much business as usual. We are more strongly focused on our fantasy, our urban fantasy, horror, science fiction, that sort of thing, which delights me because I'm a genre girl. So we're doing more of those titles. So I'm really happy about that. My newest release in urban fantasy is a new author, L.R. Braden, who writes an absolutely fabulous series called the Magic Smith series, and the heroine is an artisan working with metal and pounding things out and, you know, that kind of thing, with iron. And what we find out in book 1 is that she is part fae. So that's quite odd that she can work with iron and how that all comes up. And it's one of the reasons she's flown under the radar of the government. Big war with the fae. It's an alternate contemporary America. But, you know, havers have to register. If you've got any part of fae, you've got to register. But obviously no one would ever suspect her because she handles iron on a daily basis. Really great, strong, dark, urban fantasy. So I love her books, and 3 of them are already out. First one is A Drop of Magic. Second is Courting Darkness. And the third is Fairy Forged. And so they're all available. And so that's the newest thing that's going on there.
Hell, by the time this releases, we'll be close to releasing Black Knight 8.
Exactly. You know, definitely waiting with bated breath the delivery of the manuscript of Black Knight 8, which I have been promised. Please write to John and show your support that he hurry and get this awesome book that we've been talking about that you didn't get to see on the film, but we've been talking about the arc for the series, and it's awesome, and I can't wait to see them, so I'm excited about that.
And I had to not listen because I didn't want spoilers.
I know.
Yeah,
Somebody's sitting over going, la, la, la.
No.
You're way behind in the series. So, look, books are just like movies. After it's been out for a year.
Well, I didn't say don't talk about it. I just said I wasn't going to listen.
Exactly.
Which is her response to many, many of the things I say.
Many of the things.
Huh?
See? So, tell me a little bit about a book that you've loved for a long time.
Do you want to go back to childhood, or are you just talking as an adult?
I don't care.
I'll have to say, just because I'm really excited about a new book coming out from the same author. It's a writer, her name is Anne Francis, and she did a series of books called the Black Jewel Trilogy, and there have been others in that, and she's done other series. And I found her, it's the only time I misused my powers as the RWA vice president. RWA is the National Romance Writers of America organization, because I called the editor and told them how wonderful the book was and sort of wangled to get an arc of the next book, and how I really thought the author should come to the conference, because I thought there'd be a lot of, and there was, I thought there'd be a lot of crossover in her readership. So, and basically I was just doing that so I could get a copy of the next book that wasn't out, and I wanted to read it before other people. So, so it was the only time.
If that's as bad as it got.
You know, I'm a nice Southern girl raised to be good, you know.
I mean, that barely even qualifies you for membership in RWA now.
I know, really, exactly, you know, with everything that's going on. But, so, it's a book called,
Do not strip Leopold on video.
It's a zipper.
Do not be unzipping your emotional support pillow.
What do they look like inside?
That's what happened. That's how you murder people.
In the Me Too generation, that is not acceptable. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Having a zipper is not consent.
Yeah, exactly.
Harvey Weinstein just learned this shit.
You should know better.
I'm sorry.
All right.
All right.
So back to what I love. Meanwhile, back at the farm, but I'm used to this. I've known John for 10 years. But I've just met Melissa, and I love her too, and I'm beginning to understand
how Melissa tolerates working for me.
How this works. It's perfect, guys.
My ADHD meds were off like 4 hours ago.
Oh yeah, you're gone, man. You're gone. Okay, so Anne Bishop is a wonderful fantasy author, and the first book in that trilogy is Daughter of the Blood, and it's a society of witches and magic, and men have power and women have power, and depending on how dark your jewel is how dark your power is. Cool. And the world is completely upside down, and in some ways men are oppressed and sexually abused, and the tables are kind of turned, and we have two fabulous male protagonists who are waiting for what is called witch, who's going to come and set everything right. And I'm explaining it terribly, but I promise you it's worth the read or the listen. And so I've just loved that book and that series forever. I've read every book, before it came out, because I made it a personal mission of mine to become a close personal friend of Anne Bishop, so that I could, and I am now, strangely enough, and so I am absolutely privileged to read her books. And after leaving the series for quite some time, she's just returned to it.
Ooh, yeah.
And so the first book in that return will be out in just a few days, and the second book, which is not out yet, which will be out next year.
Now, is that do you have that series now?
No, she's New York Times hardcover kind of gal. So I'd love to have her, but she's busy, under contract probably for the millennium. But so the book that's not published yet that I just got finished reading in beta is just fabulous. So I love her as an author. I love some of the things that she does. So I've loved that particular book, Daughter of the Blood, and that series for a long time.
Do you like sci-fi?
Mm-hmm.
Have you read much Anna Geary?
No, I have not.
She has a book that just came out. It's really short. It may just be a long novella. It's called Strange Love, an alien abduction love story.
Okay. I love the title.
I swear to God, it's the sweetest book I've read in forever.
Really?
I love this book. It is this goofy, sad sack alien who kidnaps this basically loser human.
That's awesome.
And they fall in love, and it's beautiful.
Okay, I'll have to add it to my reading list.
It's on Kindle for like $3. It's
awesome.
Fantastic.
Okay.
I first got to know her stuff when she was co-writing stuff with Rachel King.
Okay.
So.
Yep. Absolutely.
I love Rachel Kane's stuff too.
I do too, and God, I hope she gets better soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We talked about this earlier, but some of the science fiction I've read recently that I've really liked is Michael Mamme's.
Oh yeah.
Planet Side and Space Side. Mm-hmm. They're just outstanding, character-driven action science fiction because mystery. Yeah, it's they've got to get to the bottom of what's going on, and so it's military, it's space, it's noir detective, it's just flawed character, flawed protagonist. So it is really just, I really have loved those two. And I'm waiting for the third one or whatever comes next for that character.
Yeah, it's like the best parts of a whole bunch of different genres kind of all put together.
Right.
Really well.
Done really well. That's, people all the time want to write 3 different genres in one book. And I kind of shudder, but if you do it well enough, it's brilliant, and he managed to do it absolutely perfectly.
And
more than once.
More than once, exactly.
Yeah, the kind of disgusting thing about Planet Side is that's his first book.
I know. I was so disappointed and upset because I thought, this is awesome. I found a great author. I am going to go, and I'll have this backlist, and I'll just read to my heart's content. And I went, debut author?
Yeah. It just pissed me off because he was that good out of the gate. And then
nice guy too.
That's the other part. I'm like, well, I can't even hate him.
I know. When you told me he was a really nice guy, that made me happy.
Yeah, no, he's great.
Yeah,
he's great. We love Mike. I won't ever tell him that to his face.
I hope he's watching the YouTube show.
I doubt it, but he follows me on Twitter, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't read Space Side yet, but I loved Planet Side. I thought that it was real. His military service was really obvious, but I didn't feel like it overpowered any piece of the book, and that's a balance that not a lot of people managed to do.
No, I think he did a really good job. The military background of the main character impacted everything that happened. The military aspect of the story going forward impacted everything that happened, but none of it overshadowed that character-driven noir detective story, which is what appealed to me the moment I read the back cover copy. I wanted to, who doesn't want detectives in space? And it's really not detectives in space, but,
Yeah, but it's Space Marine Expanse.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so if anybody has looked at these books and thought, well, I don't like military science fiction, you'll like this military science fiction.
Yeah, it's totally grounded in character. It's not jargon. It's not stereotypes. It's just really well done.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And the audiobook is fantastic.
Oh well, R.C. Bray.
Right.
Give me a break. I'll listen to anything he reads.
So will so many people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He does all right.
Yes. I've been known to pick things that he has narrated, even though I really wasn't interested in reading it. It's R.C. Bray. Okay, I'll read that.
Well, that's how I listened to the first Dresden book.
Oh,
because Spike narrated it. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
And the one that John Glover narrated was really good because John Glover's a fantastic actor.
But the problem is the expectation is you get used to a narrator, you love that narrator, and it's so hard to reconnect.
Spike.
Yeah.
It really is hard to reconnect. Something that I just read my first one of, and I wish I could remember the author because it was really recent. Sorry. It's called Land Founding. It's an LRPG novel.
Oh, okay, a lit RPG?
Yeah, a lit RPG. That's what I meant. Maybe The Land, yeah.
Aileron Kong?
Maybe. And I found it very interesting. I really felt I understood that side of the gaming, which I have never played and, done. I really felt I understood how everything worked. It was very clear. So I found that very interesting. I try to read widely. I read all kinds of things.
Mark Lawrence has released 2 lit RPG books recently, which I find fascinating because, Captain Grimdark.
Okay.
But yeah, he's released 2 different lit RPG books in the past, I think, 18 months. And they're doing really well. I haven't read them yet, but I was just really surprised to see him dive into that.
Yeah. And the other thing I'm reading lately, because I know that y'all are all fascinated by what we're reading,
it's kind of the whole point of the show.
Is the Rebecca Roanhorse. I'm finally getting to Storm of Locusts. I read Trail of Lightning forever ago. So I reread Trail of Lightning because I just like, okay, I really want to get to Storm of Locusts, but it's been so long. And so, she's brilliant. I love her.
I've become a really big Sarah Gailey fan over the past couple of years. Yeah. River of Teeth is their first novella. It was nominated for a Nebula, and it's fantasy cowboys on hippos.
Okay.
And it's brilliant.
Okay.
And then I really enjoyed Magic for Liars, which was their first full-length novel that they released. It was...
See, I know, I visually, look at the covers and but I haven't done any reading in that. So.
Yeah, it didn't quite stick the landing as a mystery, so it falls a little in that regard. But as a urban fantasy and a family drama, I really think it nailed it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm also, if we want to talk about books that really nail the landing and that we're really waiting for the next book, I find for myself that Louise Penny, who does these English Village mystery things, fabulous author. I don't want to say she's NYT, but I'm pretty sure she's NYT because they always come out in hardcover first, and they have for a while. And that's usually a pretty good indication if they keep doing that they're making some bank on the author's readers. And I love her books. It's a mystery, except it's all about the characters. There's always a mystery, and it's the same cast of characters from this village, and occasionally they'll get darker and they'll go away from the village and come back. But it's absolutely such a satisfying read. I find that her books are very satisfying.
That sounds like it's right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Melissa's a cozy mystery nut.
You would love. Give it 2 books.
Okay.
Okay. Anne recommended them to me, and she said, "Give it 2 books."
Okay.
She says, "You're not going to like one character. Don't care. Just keep going." And we both text each other. It's like the new one they announced the date. And it's not like a big adventure, whatever. But I find it just a really wonderful bunch of people that I want to stay with, and I'm satisfied.
And that's what I like about mysteries and things like that. Is a lot of times it's more about the character than it is about the actual mystery. I mean, sure, there's a mystery. They've got to have something to do. Yeah. But really, it's about the...
Jean Raby's stuff that she's been doing is a lot like that. The mysteries she's been doing. I think I don't know if she's been calling them dark cozies or not, but they're small town mysteries.
So I haven't read those, and I need to read them right now, because I have this vision that there is a genre for cozy horror.
I 100% think there is,
and that's what I want.
I would love to see. I like Anne Fraser's Body Reader, that series, and the Helen Grace dark suspense. They're like police procedural, edgy, dark heroines that are way far from perfect and have a lot of issues. They're not cozy or sweet in any way, but I also love those. And, I just read everything. I don't care.
Yeah.
If it's a good book, I'll read it. I don't really have a preferred genre, so.
Yeah, I'm doing a thing right now where I'm doing 5-minute book review videos to keep me accountable, because my goal for this year is to read a book a week that's not on submission.
Right. Because you can get really caught up in, and the reason I started reading so much more, whenever, same thing that you're thinking about back in the day, when people would say, "What are you reading?" It used to be I could give you 15 things that I'd read in the last month and a half. And I suddenly realized I was answering, well, nothing you've read yet because it's not out.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was my cue that, okay, number one, I love to read. I absolutely adore it. So that had to come back into my life in a really big way, even though I was reading constantly our books that we were editing, that kind of stuff. And I just don't understand how people can't read.
I don't even. But yeah, I found myself, whenever somebody say, "What are you reading?" I'd be like, "Submissions," or this novella by Gail Martin, because I edit all of Gail's novellas for us, which is 12 a year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely understand.
Everything I've been reading is either Falstaff stuff or nonfiction.
Yeah.
Mostly. I probably should fix that.
I mean, we produce enough books to keep you busy.
I know.
Yeah. I mean,
and one of us has to read everything we produce.
Yeah, this is true.
And
but to have the hit list of books that you're going to read, I think it's kind of important to keep the eye on. Hey, you deserve something where you can turn the editor brain off.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the hard part, is turning that editor brain off.
Yeah, I haven't quite figured that out yet.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I
Louise Penny,
love reading books that I know are by really good writers, because then I can turn the editor brain off. Like when Rachel Kane releases a new Stillhouse Lake book.
Those are so good.
Have you read those? It is if you have anyone who writes for you who wants to write thrillers, this is a masterclass in how to write a thriller. There's not a supernatural thing about them, but I mean, it made my heart race reading it. And they're not terribly action-packed. They're obviously a few
Darn,
series.
I'll put her on my list.
I know, right?
Darn, I have to buy more things.
But yeah, those are fantastic. So, but I knew from the jump that Rachel's a hell of a writer. You know, now...
It was not surprising to you to like them.
Yeah. And when I started reading Strangelove by Anna Geary, well, I had first read her when she was co-writing with Rachel Gain.
Okay.
So I wasn't taking a big risk there.
Right. And that, for me, I find that I do fall into the rut of I want more books by authors I love, and I find that sometimes I hang back a little bit on debut authors, even though I should be reading more debut authors than my old beloved favorites. But yeah, I think it's really good to
Kindle Unlimited has helped me with that, because now that I pay for the Kindle Unlimited subscription, I'm willing to take a flyer on a book that's in Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah. And I know they said, well, you can get a sample for free. Just download samples and read samples. I don't know. Am I the only person on earth who's not a sample reader? I like either buy the book or, I mean, that's just me. I just go ahead and buy the book.
I am a huge sample reader.
I know that there are. I just never happen to be one. It feels too much like a submission if I only have a sample.
Right.
So I just buy the book and I can get further into book reading.
I completely agree, yeah.
I'm so quick to dump a submission too, so it's fine.
Oh, yeah, a couple of paragraphs and you could be out of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just, we're looking for voice, you know this, y'all do this, and you know the voice real quick.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if I have any doubt at all, I just kick over, because I always like sending the whole manuscript, because I don't want to have to ask for it again if I want to finish reading it. I just click somewhere in the middle of the manuscript, I just give it another couple of paragraphs. You know, sometimes people need to clear their throat.
Right.
You know, so I give them that chance, but if the throat didn't get cleared and there's really nothing coming through in that voice, then it's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
So.
It's got to get through 3 people before I ever see it at this point.
Yeah.
It's got to get through at least, it's got to get through at least 2, probably 3 people before I even see it.
Yeah, folks they'll read our slush, but I'm usually first reader on somebody if I met you at a conference. So.
Yeah. I do a fair chunk of that.
Yeah.
I'll at least give it a glance. And then if it's not clicking with me, I'll send it to somebody who I know.
Yeah.
Like Erin reads a lot of our sci-fi because she reads a lot more sci-fi than I do. So if I don't connect with it immediately, I'm like, hey, Erin, check this out. See if you like it.
Yeah, this is true. Well, and I'm about the only one in our office who really likes sci-fi, which is not a burden because I really don't get enough submissions for it. But if you're writing planet side or space side and you're in the, please send it in. I'd love to take a look at it. I'd like some really strong, good sci-fi.
And put in the query letter. I saw this on Book Babble.
Yeah, I saw this on Book Babble that you were looking for this. Oh, I probably do.
Yeah, because we're going to be working on a new contract in a year or 2, so.
Hey, have you thought about science fiction?
I'm not very good at it.
Oh, well, don't send me something
tried.
then.
I'm really
It's
bad
not that
at
you're
it.
not willing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one science fiction that I think I'm going to be pretty good at, it's already contracted.
No.
Somebody already bought that one.
Is this Space Kitties?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a John science fiction.
Yeah.
Hello.
It came from a short story I did for Chris Kennedy called Half Space Cat Will Travel.
Okay. All right. I can totally see that in you.
Yeah. But for now, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Oh my goodness. You can find me on Facebook about every 4 months. I'll post something. My staff is appalled that I am so sad and pitiful. But you can find our website, bellbooks.com, bellbridgebooks.com.
One of those has an E, one doesn't. We're not going to tell you which.
Yeah, really, do your research, do your homework. And I do have a Twitter account.
You do?
Yeah, I know. It's an amazing. I just never use these things.
Falstaff has one too. I followed it like a week ago.
Yeah, you know.
I know.
Yeah, but Bell Books and Bell Bridge Books, they have a Facebook page, they have a Twitter account, they have an Instagram. I can't tell you what those are because I'm a terrible publisher, and other people do that stuff. But we're out there. Please, you can join our mailing list. You know, come find us on Facebook, Bell Bridge Books, BLL Bridge Books. So.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you, Deb, for spending some time with us.
I'm delighted.
And
fun.
for bringing donuts.
Yeah. Hey, you know, got to do it.
And until next week, bye.
Bye, guys.